Tatiana.
I'm Jordan.
And we're back with another video, but this time we are live from Texas. So a lot has been going on, and we have to catch you guys up on these past 5 months.
It's been crazy.
So our initial plan was to go to school for pre-dent. He was going to school for pre-medical, and we decided to get into these crypto coins, and we fell in love with them.
Yeah, so we wanted to learn more about crypto and how they work. So we tried to see like how do these like coins interact with one another, like how does it work? So we started to see like you could literally program your own coin. So we were like, how do we program our own coin? And we started to learn about like the programming language Solidity, which is how you like create your own tokens in cryptocurrency. And from there, that like really sparked our interest in programming. Yeah, so unfortunately, we were unsuccessful in learning like Solidity. We didn't have like the basic like understanding of how programming languages work. So we decided to pick up like the more traditional programming languages like Java, Python, like languages like that. Yeah, when we got more exposure like with these languages, we knew like, you know, we want to pursue a career in software engineering, but we were like, how do we get into software engineering without a computer science degree? Like, how does one just learn how to become a software engineer? It was actually extremely hot over there, so we decided to move into the shade.
Okay, so at the time we were both working at Home Depot, making $14 an hour, working part-time.
Yeah.
So my paychecks usually came up to, it was bi-weekly, so my paycheck usually came up to like $420.
Yeah, I was working like a little like more, so I was making like maximum 700 if I was like really grinding, like really putting my back into it. So
yeah, and I did have a second job. I was working at a dental office, also making $14 an hour, which that was also part-time, and I was making close to $300 something, which is sustainable for, you know, actual living.
Yeah, so immediately off the bat, we knew that $700 about each, right, would not put us in a good position. So when we discovered, you know, tech is like what we want to do, we started looking for like different ways we could get in. So we looked at some opportunities in Florida. We weren't able to see anything. So we were like, this is probably not the best area for this. Thankfully at the time, we had some family out here in Texas. So we moved out here to get our start in tech. We kind of just impulsively got up and we decided to, you know, go out here to Texas and just, you know, start a new life, like try to, you know, increase our living, just try to live a more comfortable life, more sustained. So we moved out here. It took us about 2 days to get out here.
Yeah, it took us about 2 days. We packed everything up, put it in our cars,
quickly.
We drove here, which was an 18-hour drive.
Yeah, so it took us like, you know, not too long to get over here, but we were like frantically throwing everything in our car, like just trying to get out of there. Like we were just tired of it. We wanted to do like better for ourselves. So we got over here around what, like May-ish of this year?
It was like May.
Yeah, I think it was like May-ish of this year.
Yeah. So at the time, like we said, we were working at Home Depot in Texas, and it took us 40 minutes to get to the job. And my first day there, when I only went because we worked at the same store.
Yeah.
So my first day there, I went in and the store was disgusting. It was like a mess, and they wanted me. I was working at lumber at the time, so I was the only girl there, and they wanted me to, you know, move all the lumber, this and that, and I was like, no, I can't do it, and I left, and I never came back. And after I left, he decided to follow behind and leave too. So we were out of a job for like almost
like 3.5 months.
3.5 months. But at the time, we were mass applying to a bunch of jobs, right? So many jobs. And we had got an email from Goldman Sachs saying that they wanted us to interview.
Yeah, so we got our emails from Goldman and they were like, hey, we want to move forward with you. I remember like applying initially and like I could not believe that they contacted us. It was kind of like an application you just throw in the dark and you don't expect to hear anything back. But they decided to contact us, and from there, you know, when Tatiana got her email too from Goldman, she applied to a different position, but when we both got hired, or at least on the initial onboarding process, we were looking at the salaries and we were like, we just doubled our income, like double what we were making at Home Depot, and we were like, wow. Yeah, so we went from making $15,000 together at Home Depot part-time to making $86,000 together at Goldman, like full-time. So it's like that jump was like night and day. Like we got our first paycheck, and I know she remembers hers.
Oh my god, when I got my first paycheck, I was like,
yeah, like I got my first check, and it was like well over like, you know, 1,000. But like we just told you guys, like we were so used to 700, like when we did really well for ourselves.
400,
Yeah.
300 for me. So when I seen I was over like 1,000, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Wow.
so like we seen that, we were like, we're never ever going back. Like, and from there we took it a step further.
Yeah. So our job title at Goldman was basically savings specialist. I was a VIP specialist, and this was a client-based job.
Yeah.
So we were always talking to clients. So we were not in tech just yet. And we had put Goldman on our resume, and it's the weight of the name that really like did it for us, basically.
Exactly. All right, so now we had a humongous like financial institution on our resume. Now people are like interested in you, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like, if you got into Goldman Sachs, I'm sure you could get it here too, right? So you start getting people's interest just off the name. So from there, you know, we started at Goldman, you know, training and whatnot. And then we were like, all right, so we have this great name on our resume. How do we break into tech with having this opportunity that we have, right? So first of all, I just want to say Goldman is a great employer. They have like a whole bunch of like good resources, especially if you want to like progress through your career. A lot of learning opportunities in tech, especially. A lot of resources for you to learn and grow.
Great benefits.
Great benefits, and we love Goldman, just as a disclaimer. But yeah, so from there we're just looking, you know, what opportunities can we take, you know, while still working a full-time job and still get into tech. So actually my mother, she gave us a program that she found on Facebook. It was called Generation USA. And in Generation, you know, they teach you front-end web development, and that's how we really got really exposed into how, you know, web pages interact with each other with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So from there, you know, we were learning about how to build these web pages, and we were like, okay, if we can put together enough projects in our portfolio, I'm sure we'll gain like the attention of like some of the tech industry's you know, biggest players, you know, Microsoft, you know, Google. We were kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves, but at the end of the day, we still were able to gain someone's interest, and I feel like Goldman played a very big factor in that, along with Generation.
With Generation, they have like awesome resources for us to use, and we took that to our own advantage, such as Code Academy. I was using it to learn Python, and Jordan was using it to learn Java.
Yeah.
And okay, Udemy, right?
Yeah, Udemy was very big for us. So we started learning about like basic computer knowledge, you know, about like how computers work, how the internet works, just basic IT knowledge, like about networking, stuff like that. And we came across those videos actually by having like a passion, right? It started with our passion, and we ran across someone here in Texas that provided us, you know, with the resources of how to really learn how to program. So I feel like because we were so interested, and because we took the initiative to reach out and network with someone, that really like showed us, okay, this is how you get exactly into tech and where you want to be. So we started taking those courses on Udemy, and you know, from there we just started growing our knowledge, and it just took off from there.
So we started using a bunch of resources. Like we said, Goldman Sachs has a lot of resources as well. They had Coursera. They also had what's the other one?
It was Coursera. There was Pluralsight. They also had like different resources for like learning cloud, like in AWS. They just had like a lot of opportunities for you to grow. So
trying to work a full-time job at Goldman Sachs, my schedule was kind of weird. I was doing I don't know, I guess I'm still doing Monday through Friday, 12 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, something. So with that being said, I also had a full course of class as well, and I wanted to integrate my programming skills to my school knowledge. So I basically got a minor in computer science, which was really hard to get since I was really close to the edge of
having like too many credits.
Yeah.
With those resources, she was learning Python in her minor, and we were using the resources that we mentioned earlier. I decided to really get into Java. I felt like it's a language that's still frequently used, and I wanted to really challenge myself. So I started with Java, and from there I was like, I have a pretty basic understanding of Java and how it works, how it interacts. And from there I was like, okay, what's the worst that could happen? We've seen 1 million rejections already. I think it's time that we go ahead and apply. So we learned, different ways that we'd be able to break into tech. And we started to see, okay, if we have a non-traditional computer science major, it's not the end of the world. So there's still opportunities for us to get into this field. And we were like, okay, there's different ways we can go. We can do a boot camp, but we were already doing generations, so we didn't really want to do another boot camp. And then we were like, okay, we could also, do another bachelor's, but why would you do another 4 years? And we were like, okay, that's not gonna work either. So how do we get in? So that's what we really spent a lot of time on. And we were like, okay, there's programs that we're able to participate in for people who are interested in tech, have some knowledge, but they don't necessarily have the background in it.
Right.
And that's how we really got in to start.
They also have internships for those who don't really have any knowledge but want to break into tech as well. And that's what we were really looking for. We was using LinkedIn, and we were using Indeed to help us look for those opportunities.
Exactly. So some of the programs CODA from Capital One. It's a program where they take STEM majors, so it can be mathematics or untraditional engineering and computers. Or it can be, anything technological related, or anything science, So I personally was science. I found the program very interesting. So I applied to that program. I applied to another program. What was the other one?
Was it Chase?
Oh yeah, so I applied to another program, Chase Tech Connect.
Mm-hmm.
That program was primarily Java based.
The places that we got rejected from was Fannie Mae,
Amazon,
Southwest Airlines,
CVS,
Capital One,
Verizon,
Apple,
Rayathon Technologies,
Charles Schwab,
PepsiCo,
AT&T,
Commercia, Comerica, however you want to call it,
Citibank,
and TIAA. So yeah, some of these positions, they weren't apprenticeship friendly. They were really looking for people that already were full-fledged programmers.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years of experience for entry-level careers.
Masters.
But exactly. So we got a lot of rejections, but at the end of the day, that's just a part of the process. You just got to keep going and know that eventually you'll get an opportunity. So
one day.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna talk about our interview process and how we broke into tech. So initially, I got my first opportunity, first interview with Capital One for their CODA program, and I had a great recruiter. She sent me some resources that how I could prepare for the interview. I had about a month to prepare for my interview. So while that might sound oh, that's way more than enough time, it was more than enough time, but at the same time, this is your first job in tech, so it was a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure. I was wow, because me and Tatiana, we were planning on, breaking into tech, but probably having to do a master's to get in or something like that. So when we got the opportunity this early, as we mentioned, we just got over here in May, and we were getting interviews 4 months later.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got this interview, and I was whoa, I really need to study my behind off to try to get it. So a whole month is going by, and I'm studying. There's a whole bunch of math. They gave us this humongous packet we had to study for a case interview if any one of you get an interview with Capital One. And yeah, there was just so much knowledge to take in. I was okay, I just want to perform well. And then about a week before the official interview starts, I got an email from Chase that they wanted to interview me as well. And as you can imagine, I was like, my whole attention was towards Capital One. I was like, wow, like I did not expect to hear back from Chase because we just got denied so much. So, from there, I was like, I think I'm gonna go ahead and interview with Chase. We talked about it, and I decided to interview with them a week prior to the Capital One interview, and I'm so grateful I did. I went through with the Capital One interview and Chase, but they both had their formats for their interviews. Like it was like super date interviews, so they're both like 4-hour long interviews. And in Chase's interview specifically, I felt like it went very well, and like not initially though. I didn't feel like good about it at all. But after like going through Capital One's process, I felt definitely way better about the opportunity. So yeah, I felt really good about the Chase interview after going through both of those processes, and honestly, it was time for a decision. So about the next week, I would know if I got either of the positions, and I'm not gonna give you guys the result on that yet. I'll go ahead and let Tatiana give her story, and then we'll talk about where we're at currently.
After that happened to Jordan, I was really excited for him, really happy, and I'm sitting down doing whatever, and I get an email from Wells Fargo saying that they want to interview me for one of their programs in tech. So with this program, they're offering basically for both of us $87,000 to $100,000, and we just left Home Depot making
$15,000 together. So and that was like within a span of like 5 months. All right, so I know you guys are like finally ready to hear like what happened. So with Capital One, the following week, they decided to move on with other candidates. It was very heartbreaking, but it happens, right? We decided to apply early. We tried to break into tech, sooner rather than later, and that just comes with it, So I actually heard back from Chase the following day, and Chase said that they wanted to move forward and give me a verbal offer, and then it was followed by an official offer.
And for me with Wells, I'm still awaiting my interview, my second interview, sorry about that, and we'll update you guys on that.
Yeah, so you guys just keep checking out our channel. We actually have a new channel, Tech with TJ. We're also going to post this video there too. But we're just going to keep you guys updated on what's going on inside of the life of Tatiana and Jordan.
So now that we have two channels, this is our personal channel where we'll like post our cooking videos, like, little trips and this and that. And then our Tech with TJ video will be more videos like this, where we give you guys updates on our tech life and how it's going with the jobs and just stuff like that.
Yep. You guys just make sure you tune in and like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next video.
TJ out.
Oh God, man, I didn't know you was doing all that. See, I just asked you if you was gonna do that. I just asked you if you was gonna do that. Wait, you said there was gonna be no ending.